And like you were talking about, it's like a lot of people who get in business, right? They don't know what they're doing. Not that they don't know what they're doing, but like for me, I was a mechanic, right? I grew up doing, shingles and siding and stuff like that. So I knew all I needed to know about the production end of things, right? But I didn't know anything, the back office stuff. I didn't know much about that. So to have somebody like you to come in and help refine, right? And define refine for us. Like, what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so this is my structure, okay? So say I'm just gonna give you an example, okay? You hire guys on board. Cool. Those guys those sales reps or whoever it is, they die out eventually. Okay. So I mean they get tired or whatever it is, or just lazy or comfortable, whatever it is, okay? So rather than people, like I would never have somebody just like, hey, everybody's fired. So my main thing, the first thing is recruit. So recruit, retain, redefine. So first, if you want to structure your company, I help them with the structure. I already have a 50-page like slideshow type thing already done up for people that I plug and play their like logo in there. But basically you recruit, right? You want to bring in new fresh blood. So that's what I do. Cool. So I help recruit. And then once from there, I have this 5-day boot camp where it literally trains them in to be beasts within 5 days. Cool. After that, it's retaining. So retaining is the biggest thing. So a lot of the time with companies is that they'll bring people on board. Here's your percentage. Okay, go out with my, top sales rep, whatever. Like that's not it, because half the sales reps that go out, and this is something that I will get I'll give Matt credit for this. When I went to his class in Florida, I learned that there's so many things that go into like even an inspection and meeting with the adjuster, like more than I even thought. But it's like all these sales reps, like they're either having to either go re-inspect it because they didn't do it right the first time, right? There's a lot of like hassle to it. So having that like structure where you're teaching them how to do things the right way in the get-go and a simple process is what I do. So retaining them is that structure, and then having weekly goals. Cool. After that, the redefining. So now that I get to that part, it's like, okay, let's redefine and restructure everything. Like as in, let's look at your whole team. Let's get rid of the waste and let's keep the strong players. You feel me?
Yeah.
So people that are holding people down. So that's what redefine means. It's like, who's worth it in your company? Because you're the owner, Ty. I mean, like it took you a long time to get to where you're at. Okay. You don't have time to waste, nor do you, Chris. I mean, you're a manager. You don't have time to waste on people that are just going to do like shit half-assed. You know what I'm saying? So redefining that structure, once you have, though, that core good group, then it's like, hey, I ask of this from you. If you can't deliver that, then, we're redefining this, we got to get like,
it makes sense. Do you think that bringing in the new blood has anything to do with, we talk about it sometimes when we bring people in, it's like, I'm just going to use an example. When we switched over to Job Progress, it was another system after I'd say probably a 2 or 3 year period where we're just doing system after system after system, trying to figure out what sticks, what works,
for sure.
Finding the bugs and things. Cause I mean, we have a different model than a lot of other companies, we do a lot of new construction, we do retail, and we do investment work. So commercial. Like it's like no program out there really fit us. So we need to find the program that's willing to mold to our thing. You know what I mean? So, we had an opportunity when Job Progress, when we first started launching that, it's like we bring in fresh blood. They don't have any bad habits. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you're bringing in those new salespeople, it's like, it's almost a breath of fresh air because you don't want to sit with your top guy because maybe the top guy has bad habits that he just doesn't want to listen.
100%.
Is that why you do that?
1,000,000%. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
100%. I believe that if you're working for somebody, like you should always respect the owner, always respect your manager, no matter what, right? You'll have that opportunity to move up. But yeah, hiring people that are, and I'm not saying this for everybody because there are people that are out there that are great, that know the industry. But a lot of the time, they have bad habits. That's very hard to change. You know what I'm saying? So I love,
it is.
Fresh newbies are good.
Yeah. What we've found though, as long as you have a solid process, right, that you can train, opposed to not having a process, right? So if you don't have a process, because we went through that too, like we went through 3 different CRMs, one that we kind of like developed our own over the years, right? Which none of which communicated with any of it. We had 3 people putting the same data in the same different places that didn't work, right? Yeah, it was a lot of work, right? And then we had some other people help us develop like an estimating software, but it wasn't quite a CRM. And then we went through One Click Contractor, which actually developed the GAF project for us. And then we realized that wasn't the approach because they wouldn't mold to our system. It was just roofing. And like Chris was talking about, we do roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar for residential, retail, for residential new construction, for commercial new construction, commercial remodeling, like all facets of the roofing and siding and window world is where we're at. We've learned a long time ago that, to stay diversified, for whatever reason why we decided to go that way, it's actually paid off dividends. But finally, we about 3 years ago, like Chris was saying, we finally settled into, and where we've seen our biggest issues was those who have stuck it out with us had the hardest time conforming to now this is the new process after we just ran them through the freaking ringer of bouncing through 3 or 4 different processes, right? But now that we have a solid routine that everybody on the team is using, it's a little easier for those people who may have came from a company that uses AccuLinks or Job Nimbus or whatever, right? And then let's face it, most of the sales training is the same. You got the roofing strategist, Adam Bensman. You got, basically most of the people, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of them, but a lot of it's the same thing, like canvassing neighborhoods, knocking doors, overcoming.
Not rocket science. Let's just say put it that way. Okay?
Exactly. So they're all doing that, but as long as you have like that back end process, I think in place, I think a lot of times as managers and coaches and mentors, I think sometimes we allow fear to get in place of like, oh my God, he's got experience or he doesn't have an experience. But as long as you have a solid process put in place, I think the learning curve for either the experienced or non-experienced is going to go over a hell of a lot smoother than it would be if you have a half-assed process. So I think for new business owners, find a CRM first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that.